basically my mother has made a phone call to DCYF, and needless to say, me and my mother don't get along very well. So we live in Rhode Island. We just moved to Providence, Rhode Island. My mother doesn't like Eli very much and called DCYF and made accusations against us. So they looked into it, and at the time that they took our son, I was actually at work, and so was Eli. So he has been with his godmother where he was when DCYF came and, you know, basically put a 72-hour hold on him. And he's been there since the middle of December. So we've only had about, 3 hearings now. It was like I don't know what, basically one hearing to try to get us to sign things, and then
well, he's not with family.
He is with family. He's with his godmother.
All right. And the godmother happens to be a relative?
No.
Okay, good. So she can't actually make a claim. Fine. You know, not at this point. She can't. Fine. But for some reason, they gave it to her.
Yeah.
Why did they give it to her?
He was there at the time that DCYF came, and she's probably the closest person.
She was babysitting?
Yes.
Good. You said she was there. There where? You mean
at her home with my son babysitting, yes.
Okay, so the kid was not with a relative, was at the babysitter. And they went over to the babysitter's house, and they took the kid from the babysitter.
No, they actually left him there in her custody.
Okay, so they left her there, the baby there in her custody. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So why did they bother coming over?
So my mother...
Good question.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that out, too. My mother...
Just don't give me the full details. Do you have an idea? Was somebody reported abuse and neglect?
Yes.
There was alleged report of abuse and neglect?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't need the details. So there was an alleged abuse and neglect. Okay, great, lovely. What did they allege? Either abuse or neglect? Which one? Or both?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Neglect.
Okay, yeah, it's neglect.
Okay, so you've been criminally charged?
No.
No.
There's only 2 ways they can hold your child. It's based upon criminal proceedings against you, charges against you, or volunteer. That's it. All you had to do, okay, this is why this could be so simple and so quick. Is there some reason why you didn't tell those people you have 72 hours of criminal charges on us or return them?
No. In 10 weeks we've been listening to you. We haven't done any smart stuff yet.
Okay. So like I said, all you had to do is say, look, there's only 2 ways you can hold the child into custody. 2 ways. Voluntarily, the parents have to surrender them, or there has to be criminal charges against you for either abuse or neglect. So since there's no criminal charges for you folks against abuse and neglect, then it has to be voluntary. There's only 2 ways to hold the child. Okay?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Does that make sense? There's not 3 ways, okay? It's only 2 ways. Abuse and neglect or voluntary. Okay, voluntary. Okay? You guys got appointed a public defender, right?
No.
Okay, do you guys get your own attorney?
No.
Okay, so when you go to the hearings, what do?
We originally started trying to, like you would call him a guru. We tried listening to somebody. Then we found your stuff, and everything's just been continued so far. We haven't really pushed you in any direction.
Let's do one thing at a time, okay? I'm not that fast on the update, okay? You said you tried to follow a guru. What did you do when you followed the guru?
Yeah, we just tried the same thing. We just said we want our property back, and the lady started yelling at us.
She said that he's not property.
Okay. Then you said, what did you ask? Who was this lady who was talking to you?
The associate judge, or whatever she is.
Okay, so she said that he's not property, right? And what did you say?
Well, she kind of used the bailiff to intimidate us, and we kind of backed down the first time.
Okay, so when she said that that's not property, what did you say?
I don't, to be honest, I don't remember. It was that long ago. That was in December.
Gee, yeah. You don't remember something that important?
Well, no. I mean, basically, when she said that, she yelled at me, and I backed down, and I just kind of cowered down and let her continue yelling at me.
You just say, lady, you could believe what you could believe, and I believe what I believe. If I want to call him a ham sandwich, he's a ham sandwich, lady. All right, so let me get this straight. You talk to the judge says not property. You need to say to her, look, man, you believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe. I want to call him a ham sandwich. I believe he's a ham sandwich. He's a ham sandwich. Fine. You got your opinions, I got my beliefs. That's fine. And that's how you handle people. You sound like you got a New York accent, do you?
No, that's straight Rhode Island.
Too bad. I was hoping you were from New York, Staten Island, Queens, something, Bronx, someplace.
I like you, I spent summers out there with my family on Long Island.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if you were from New York City, you'd have a real freaking attitude like me and Donald Trump and Scalia. You'd have a real attitude, Bronx, like me. That nobody's going to tell me what I'm going to call my kid. I'll call him a cupcake. And if you don't like me calling him cupcake, you go have a kid and you call him what you want to call him. But until then, I'm calling him cupcake. You have to really develop an attitude with these people. You can't kiss their ass. You can't just let them, nail you back into a corner. All you have to say to the judge is something that's simple. It's like, he belongs to me, give it back. Well, that's my property, give it back. If the judge says, okay, he's not property, it's like, okay, let's make it even simpler. He belongs to me. Does he not belong to me? Yes or no, because that's the definition of property. Something that belongs to somebody. Does he belong to anybody else on planet Earth other than I? No. So I guess I recommend that you give him back, because he belongs to me. See how simple this lovely process is? If you look up the definition of property in the dictionary, you'll see it says that which belongs to one. So you say, okay, fine. Property is not property? Fine. He belongs to me. Does he belong to anybody else on planet Earth? No. Then why are you touching him? If does that dog belong to you, do I have the right to come and touch your dog? If you don't want me to touch your dog? No. That's your dog. And if I touch your dog, right, I have no right to touch your dog. So whose dog is that? It's your dog. That little bundle of joy over there, that's my little bundle of joy. That's my cupcake. Well, don't call him property. I'll call him cupcake then. Does that make you happy? He's my little bundle of joy. He's my sunshine. He's my starshine. He's my little God's gift. Okay? Does that make you people happier?
It's very true. Yes.
The whole thing is you got to have a freaking attitude with these people. That's how they get you. That's how they get you under control. Is because to argue with somebody is to clear up a point, to make something crystal clear and transparent. To argue means to polish. Means to make something clear. So if the judge says, you just come here to argue today? Absolutely. You're damn right. Yeah. Because if you don't argue, if you don't bring your point forward, if you don't bring the light through, if you don't bring your point of view through, then it's the other side is bringing their point through. And you're going to get railroaded. If you say to the judge, if the judge says, are you here to argue today? Is that all you're here to do? Absolutely. But if I don't argue, you're going to give the other side the ruling. Because if I don't argue, if I don't stress my point, if I don't bring my facts before the court, then it's a one-sided argument. You're going to rule in favor of the other side. Because only they're the ones are the only ones who are arguing today. Like I said, the big thing is, back to the only two ways they could take them is through a criminal proceeding or a volunteer. So the first thing you need to do is go down to the local sheriff's department and get the local sheriff to confirm there's been any criminal charges against you.
We did that. And
did you put it in writing that there is no criminal charges on you?
No, we did not. We've actually had trouble with them trying to, help us go pick up our child. Because
you're getting too complicated too fast. All you have to ask them is a simple question. Has there been criminal charges filed on I and my husband yet? That's all you need to know. I don't need to pick them up. I don't need you to fucking do a damn thing. All I need to know is, are there any criminal charges against me and my husband at this point? Okay. And they say no. I said, good. Can you put... Yeah, I wrote it up in writing. There are no criminal... Before you even walk into the fucking police department, you have it in writing, where it says that there is no criminal charges on us at this time.
Okay.
And they just have them sign it. Say, look, I just need you to sign off on it. At this time, you do not see any criminal charges pending against I and my husband for abuse and neglect. You have it in writing. That way you don't tell the guy, hey, can you write it for me? He can't write a damn thing. You put it in writing. You put it in writing, you go down there and say you need to talk to the sheriff. Okay? Yeah. Then when you get down to the sheriff, you just ask him that simple question. You already have it in writing. You say, hey, sheriff, man, what? Is there any pending criminal charges against my husband, man, for abuse and neglect against the child? No. Oh, good. Yeah, I already got this piece of paper wrote up. And he's like, what's that? I said, well, it's just, just a piece of paper confirming that at this time you don't believe there's any criminal charges on me, on my husband. Is there anything filed through the sheriff's department? And they'll say, I don't want to sign that. They'll say, okay, where's your legal department? Where's your legal department? I need to talk to your legal department. I'll have your legal department explain something to you. I require a service of you. I need confirmation whether or not there's charges pending against me. Yes or no. That's all I need to know. I'm not asking you people for rocket science here. All I need to know is there criminal charges pending against me. Yes or no.
Okay.
And if it says no, then what you could do is you could say the sheriff refused to sign confirmation that there are no charges on this date. And if I was you, I'd bring a third party and I'd bring somebody down there to witness for you.
Okay.
I'd bring somebody down there. So they can't say that you're acting crazy, you're acting all nutty or fruity or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they tried to say in court. They're trying to make us do some kind of assessment to make sure we're not crazy because we asked for our property back.
Yeah, well, you call it cupcake or sunshine. Sometimes I call my I'm crazy because I call my kid cupcake. I don't tell you what to call your kid. I tell you what to call my kid. If I wish to call them that's what I wish to call them. It's none of your damn business. Who died and left you my voice? It's that kind of simple attitude.
Yeah.
And hell, man, things are so cheap nowadays, man. Go bring a camera with you. They got on eBay, man, stuff called a fob, like a FOB. It's like a key ring thing, like an automatic car opener.
Yeah.
Those are video cameras in those little fobs now.
Huh.
Yeah, so just bring a key ring that looks like a fob. He won't think nothing of it.
Right.
That's what I do.
Okay.
And just record it. And have the sheriff say, no, at this time he sees nothing on file that there's any pending charges on you.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you go to the county prosecutor's office and you do the same thing. Because they have to report it to abuse and neglect to either the county prosecutor's office or the sheriff's department. Either one. So then you go down to the sheriff's department, you do that. Then you go to the county prosecutor and say, hey, county prosecutor, are you investigating a case of abuse and neglect against my husband? Has anybody filed any charges on us? Are you investigating, any abuse and neglect allegations or charges or crimes? Let them answer you. Yes or no. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, and then this is what we're doing. We're presenting this. We're going to get this all wrapped up and present it to the court. And you're going to go to the court and you're going to say there's no charges pending to the county prosecutor's office or the city district attorney's office. And then you're going to find it for the sheriff's department. There's been no charges of allegation or neglect. That's been reported to him either. So you tell the judge this is very simple. There's only two ways the child could be taken into custody: through abuse and neglect charges or volunteer. So, since there's no charges against my husband for abuse and neglect, there's only one other way you can hold him: voluntarily. Is there anything recorded that I or my husband voluntarily placed the child into the state's care? Not custody, into the state's care. And then once you go from there, then you file a motion. Then you could just actually play in their little court world, because in their little court world, there's only two ways that they can move a case against you. It has to be abuse and neglect, or it has to be due to voluntary placement. So now you tell it, this is very simple. There's only two ways this court can move. There's no other way but two ways this court can move. That there's either a voluntary agreement placed before this court, or there's charges of abuse and neglect. And there are no charges of abuse and neglect, and there's no voluntary consent decreed before this court. So they're holding the child illegally and unlawfully, both.
Okay.
And that's how you get the first round going. And say, I wish that, to be let alone. I wish for this, for this agency, for this state agency and this court to let me be, to let I alone, let I and my family alone. That kind of simplicity. Try not to use the word me. Try to put the word I in there.
Yeah, I actually I've listened to a lot of your stuff, and I did write up a document, a notice of claim, but I'm not sure now by talking to you if I should actually file this into the court.
Of course you should, because they're not even abiding by their own rules.
Okay.
Say this court is in contempt of court. The social services, whatever you call it, DYI-5, whatever you called it, are in contempt of their own court. They know to move a case in this court to have an action moved before this court. There must be charges of abuse and neglect or volunteer. There must be voluntary placement. They're in contempt of their own court. No action can be given unless one of these two elements exists: actual charge of abuse and neglect, which doesn't exist, or volunteer placement through a consent decree, which does not exist. So, you know, this court that EYIF assembled, you know, is moving in contempt of its own law, of its own policy. See, they create policy, honestly. They don't create law. They act under, you know, administrative policy.
Right.
Yeah. You could just say, you know, acting under, they're in violation of their own administrative policy because, you know, it's under the executive branch. The governor runs it. But a family court, it's kind of like a court, but not a real court. If you actually Google quasi-court, you will actually see, like in Wikipedia, it actually says family, the first court that you see as a quasi-court is family court. Because honestly, they have no jurisdiction to get involved in the private affairs of you and your wife because it's in the private. What you do with your child is in the private. Okay? That's why it's not a public law. They're not acting under a public law because you and your wife and child are not in the public. They don't have jurisdiction of what goes on in the private, what goes on in your bedroom. They only have jurisdiction of what goes on in the public. That's why you have public laws. They write public laws. They do not write private laws. You kind of understand that simple concept?
Yes. Yes.
Right? You beat the crap out of your wife and you do it in the public, you're going to jail. If you do it in private, hey, she might get into it. She might. Oh, yeah, trust me, I had a crazy, interesting girlfriend that was into it. So don't tell me it doesn't exist because they are out there. And they seek people like me out. Because I look goofy. You know, I look goofy, so women think I'm into that. We did as adults in our private lives, it had absolutely nothing to do with what was going on in the public.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they create public law, not private. Family court is private, and that's why you have to voluntarily go into family court, or you have to be charged criminally, and then they'll take you to a district court or a circuit court, and they'll actually arraign you and bail you and take you through the whole procedure. Like if you beat your kid up in Walmart, well, you breached the peace. You broke a public law. You want to beat the crap out of your kid, do it at home. Normal people don't want to see that. The public doesn't have to bear witness to that. We don't want to see 10,000 asses kicked. Look, you got a problem with your kid, take it home. It's funny, my mom went it's so funny, my mom went to the police back in the 1970s because when my mom came, she still to this day doesn't cook on Friday. You know, she's like, they were Catholic and all this other shit, you know, and Catholic people ate fish. So my mom fucking tried to give my dad tuna fish for dinner one night on a Friday. She's like, what's this, cat food? You popped up with you call this cat food? You call this, you know, food? So my mom was like, well, it's good food, da-da-da-da-da. You know, my dad threw it, and it hit the wall, but my mom had long hair, so part of it from my mom's hair got stuck to the wall. I still remember I'm picking her hair tuna fish out of her hair, you know. So my mom, you know, like, oh, boo-hoo, you know, she went down and said to the police, hey, you know, women's lib was starting to come around there in like 1972, and said to the police, hey, man, my husband came home from work, and it was like, you know, 5 o'clock, and I didn't have tuna fish on the table and dinner ready, and he was pissed that it was cold dinner, and he works hard all day, and he didn't come home there for a can of tuna fish, so he threw the can of tuna fish or threw the tuna fish at her, and her hair got stuck in a wall, you know. And so the cop's like, what do you want us to do about it? It's like, well, you know, can you arrest him or go down there and talk to him or something? They're like, hey, lady, I'm not explaining to you. You know what you need to do? And she's like, what? Make sure dinner's on the table before 5 o'clock and stop feeding him tuna fish. But that's one fact that nobody got involved because there's only one side of the story.
Right.
One side of the story is brought out. And, you know, like I said, when people call up my show and they talk to me, and I said, is your husband there? Is your wife there? Oh, my wife beats me up. Oh, my husband, is your husband there? No, is your wife there? No. I ain't listening to one side of the story. I couldn't care less. You get the other party here on my show, and then we'll talk. I heard too much bullshit and lies in my life. You know, you're going to bring both people here, and then we'll talk about it. But like I
actually have a question for you.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is try to get this little simple concept through your skulls as hard as you can. And any time the judge or anybody tries to talk to you, you just keep explaining to them, is this a private matter or is this a public matter? Are you moving under some sort of public law or is this a private family concern? Which is this? And when they say, well, it's a public, oh, so we acted out in the public. Is that what you're saying? We did something to breach the peace of the public. Is that what we did? And they'll say, no, you didn't. Oh. So we didn't create any disturbance, no breach of the peace, so there's no public law we violated. Is that true? Is there a public law that's moving this court? Well, no. So then what is moving this court other than a policy? Is that what's moving this court, is a policy? Well, if the policy is moving the court, well, they're in violation of their own policy cause. There must be criminal charges of abuse or neglect filed at either the Sheriff's Department or the County Prosecutor's Office or the City DA, or there must be a voluntary consent decree before this court at this time. And none of those exist.
Okay.
Okay? So their case, this action, has no standing. They can't be given a ruling. They can't be given a court because this action is lacking two of the fundamental elements in which it would take to move this court. It's just like the O.J. Simpson trial. There must be a victim, like a dead body, which they found a dead body. There must be a murder weapon, which they never found that. There must be probable cause. He caught her with another guy. And there must be a third-party impartial witness. There was 4 elements of a murder trial. Capital 1, murder in the first degree. Those are the 4 critical elements. So when Marsha Clark in L.A. County started their case against O.J., and she presented her case for 4 days, not one time did I hear her say that she had a third-party impartial witness or she had the murder weapon. So you can't speculate. You can't conjecture. There's certain elements that must exist, or your action can't be given a court. It can't move to a court unless you've got these elements. And then when if the judge says, oh, yes, there can be, then what you write in there, if the court rules against us, you tell them that you're required to the court to provide the conclusion of law and the statement of facts on which they're relying to deny your motion for the release of what belongs to you immediately. That's the whole basic concept of family court. There has to be these 2 elements that must exist. And nobody protests, nobody brings up that point. These elements don't exist. They're just going to keep moving on.
Right.
The judge is going to have to tell them, well, are there any charges? And they're going to say, well, no. Well, is there any voluntary consent decree? Well, no. Then how do you believe you're moving this court against these folks? How do you believe you're going to do it? What is moving this court? There has to be an action. There has to be something that caused this court to move. And then they could just say, well, we found the house. It's like, okay, that's speculation and conjecture. That's not admissible evidence.
Okay.
It's just speculation and conjecture that maybe the child will get hurt. Maybe. Yeah, maybe if I give him a bath, he might drown. Maybe I better not give him a bath.
Yeah. And then they'll just take him if you don't give him a bath, right? And
maybe if he dirties his diaper and I wipe his ass with water, I might break his falls back and I better not wipe his ass. That's why I said to people, I've never changed a diaper in my life. No matter how many kids I've had, man, never changed a diaper. Said it's beyond my pay grade. I might break something and be liable. It worked all these years. The women just roll their eyes and say, nope. I said, I'm not bearing liability. I might break something.
I'm not changing any more diapers.
I'm not bearing liability. No way. No way. My pay grade. God did not make me that intelligent. Sorry. I'm too stupid.
We really pissed DCYF off when we sent them a letter to have them, require that they train, discipline, and monitor their subordinates.
Oh, yeah.
That really pissed them off.
Once you show that there's no action, the action is moving, not within their policy, which they have to move under these certain elements. There's 2 elements in which I know they must move under. They have to move. They have to move under these elements. These elements must exist.
Okay. We have court Thursday, so I'm definitely going to go do that down at the Sheriff's Department tomorrow.
That's right, and you don't tell them about this until you actually walk into the courtroom that morning.
Right.
And you get the stamp from the court clerk. You say to the court clerk, oh yeah, there's a couple of motions we want to put in the court. Can we stamp them in ourselves, or will you stamp them in for us? Like in Chicago, I know in Cook County, they have a timestamp machine. You don't have to waste the court clerk's time standing online just to ask her to stamp in some paperwork. Okay. So I don't know if they got something like that where you live, where you just walk up, and there's a timestamp machine. But like I said, yeah. when you make that motion, you make sure you plenty of copies. You have a copy for the judge, a copy for the court clerk, and a copy for the prosecutor. Make sure everybody gets a copy of that motion. Don't just make one or two. Make at least 4 or 5 copies of it.
What are we going to call the motion?
The judge is going to have to make a. And what's funny is when you write it as a motion, you write it as an emergency immediate motion, so that the prosecutor can't say, "Well, we've been giving a very interesting motion that was presented to the court. We're going to need a 30-day stay on this motion. Answer." You go, "F you." You answer, and you answer it fucking now.
Like it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You say, "No, there's to be no stay on this motion. You can't be given, you have no action. Action has to rise from these two elements, and there is no, these two do not exist. You cannot give action to these people. Their action has no merit. They're bringing a frivolous complaint before the court.
Yeah.
It's frivolous." I said, let's face it, man. Try that this Thursday, and it should work out pretty. It should work out pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And like I said, the big thing is, whatever the hell you write, you can just take a picture of it and text message it to me.
Okay.
Just take a picture of your phone and send it to me, and I'll tell you, no, change that, stop doing that. It's called an Oxford comma. Just Google Oxford comma. Oxford, Cambridge, Oxford.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, just look under the word Oxford comma, and you'll see why punctuation is so important.
Okay.
Instead of saying, "Let's eat grandpa," is commit cannibalism. It's like, "Let's eat, grandpa." Punctuation is important. And what's funny is my sister's a school teacher, and she said a couple of years ago they stopped teaching grammar to children in schools.
What?
Which is obscene, because they don't want you to know proper punctuation. They want you to write like a fucking idiot. So when you put paperwork into the court, it's like, "Let's eat grandpa." What, you want to commit cannibalism?
Yeah, right.
So they're just treating you folks, ridiculous. It's just as obscene what they're doing to you folks. So when they see me put something into the court, the punctuation is correct, the capitalization is correct, and they're like, damn, this guy, he knows how to address a court. He knows how to act in public. Oh, damn.
Yeah, right.
We can't say to the guy, "What the hell is this dribble? Let's eat grandpa." Where's the comma? They're not going to tell you where's the grandpa. They're not going to tell you where's the semicolon. They're not going to tell you where's the colon. They're not going to tell you that. So when they look at your paperwork, if it's not grammatically correct, they're going to throw it in the waste bin.
Yeah.
It's a thing what they do, so that's why you try to keep it to 1 or 2 sentences, tops. That way they can't throw it away. Because when you write something, it's written in stone. And you can't get an eraser and fix the stone. You can't fill the stone back up.
Right.
That's how they roll. It's obscene what they do to normal people. Because you people aren't, practiced in the arts of communication through writing. But they don't give a damn. So that's why you guys got to keep it down to like 10 words, 15 words. You keep it simple. So that way they can't fuck with you. It's that simple. Keep it down. Like the lawsuit I did in England was 8 words. And that's what I told the court clerk. I said to the court clerk when the Punjabi guy handed it to her, I said to her, "Is that a proper claim?" She said, "Absolutely." "Is that a complete lawsuit?" She said, "Yep." I said, "I bet it's the shortest lawsuit recorded in the history of England. 8 words. We only had 120 seconds to write it. But it's all right. It can be done. It's no big deal. It's easy to do."
Yeah.
So like I said, don't be worried about it. Just take what I basically wrote, said to you, spoke out to you, and try to put it in something that you're comfortable with, and try to do it in 15 words.
Okay.
It should be no more than 2 sentences. One should be, how they're not in compliance with their own policy, and that you wish for the immediate return of what belongs to you to be let alone.
Okay.
Stop using the word property. If they're not comfortable with property, fine. Just use the word "it belongs to I," and no one else. There's no one else no one else, will ever come forward and claim that it's anything but, it belongs to I. Any way you want to word it that you're comfortable with, any way that flows for you,